Hey y'all, welcome in. I wanted to do something a little different, of course. I'm not a huge fan of terrain tools. I always struggle with them, but I had seen a couple different pictures of a house I wanted to try and recreate, and I grew up watching Lord of the Rings. I've seen The Hobbit. I'm a huge fan of Lord of the Rings. I have them on VHS or had them on VHS. Wow, way to date me, right? I haven't read the books, so don't come for me. I like books, but it's not always something that I get to kind of just sit down and binge read some books. Movies are one thing though. It's been a long time since I've seen Lord of the Rings, actually, but I absolutely love the Shire. I think it's so pretty. And so this is my Hobbit house. Basically, I raised up a bunch of terrain. I have built a house into the terrain. It's obviously not perfect. It's The Sims, so you're gonna see like some separation from the house to the actual hill that it's built into. But I mean, here for it. It was a struggle, but it was also a fun struggle, trying to just smooth it out, make it look good, and then going in, use Shift C and it opens up some extra commands for your roof, basically. And so I got to curve my roof. I was trying to do like a 3-story little house, but the top story just looked a little weird. So I go ahead and get rid of that top story. And I mean, there's just a lot of time where I go in and I mess around with the terrain, try to smooth it out. I am in the cottage living world, Hinford-on-Bagley. It's real unfortunate that you don't have that terrain paint of the world in your terrain tools, because I would have loved to had cover up some of the brown from the terrain. I smoothed it, but it's raised, so there is some brown terrain there, and I would have loved to have been able to kind of cover that up some. But if I used terrain paint, it wouldn't have matched the surrounding world, so I didn't. Instead, I decided to use these little low-laying pale flowers. I use them a lot. They're really great to use in general for lots of landscaping, but I went ahead and covered the surrounding areas with these little flowers. I go on the roof and cover the roof. I didn't do the top roof until very last, only because I wasn't sure if that's the route I wanted to take with it. So really, this is just a lot of me placing these flowers all around, raising them up so they're on the roof, and just alt placing them as much as possible. I do get into the house and there are some flowers in the house, so I kind of have to push them out again. It's fine. It's all a part of the process, right? At this point, it's really becoming clear how cute this is. I mean, not to like toot my own horn, but I was really happy with the way all these flowers looked on top of the roof. It just really created this magical, fantastical look that I was going for. And then for doors, I had some different options, some different thoughts. I really love the middle door that I chose at first. It's from the movie stuff pack, but I really wanted more of a natural wood swatch to it. So I go ahead and stick with cottage living and just really kind of dive into it. I did play around with Realm of Magic, and I can see how it would have looked, and it would have been pretty, but I really wanted to kind of go for this cottagey Hobbit house, if that makes sense. It just, you could have gone with the Realm of Magic windows and it would have been really pretty and worked out. There was just something I really liked about the cottage living windows. Getting some green trim on here, and we're gonna hop inside and get this floor plan laid out. So what's really cool is, because it's kind of underground, there's no windows, so anything can go anywhere. I mean, there's windows right in the front, but like the backside, there's no windows. And I always like have issues with windows because I want the kitchen to look a certain way, or the living room, and then you have windows and you want a TV there and then the window's in the way, or you want a chimney there. I mean, you want a fireplace, or it's the window's not the right size for the kitchen. So it can be a struggle. Okay, windows in The Sims is a struggle. Windows for layouts can be a struggle. So it was really kind of fun not having any windows except for like the front windows. I mean, I still work around them, but it was really cool. So if you see, we're at Cordelia's secret cottage. So if you do get this build for yourself, that's where it is. I play tested it and it works. I had to move some things around, but you can come in here and this can be your house. And I just think it's such a cute little house. And I think it fits Hinford-on-Bagley really well. Now, I had all these thoughts of how I'd want the inside to look. It's a work in progress, right? We're not done until we're done, and we're never done, honestly. I could still go in there and do some stuff. I start off with the bathroom being kind of right next to the kitchen. I just had so much open space in this little house that honestly, if I didn't have to deal with the terrain, I would have probably made it smaller. It was a little big for me, but all's well that ends well, okay? Because it ends up being a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, and that's nice. Not everyone just plays with one sim, or if you do, now you have space for your long lost family member to come visit you and stay for a week. I definitely wanted to use a lot of cottage living, realm of magic, even werewolves. I wanted a lot of things to look rustic, worn, but still on that fantasy side of things. So you've got the realm of magic couch and love seat and chair, but then I used the werewolves bookshelf to have this like older handmade look to it. The kitchen, I don't think it turns out pretty, but I was never like super duper impressed with everything. I start off with this really light green kitchen, and then I'm like, well, let's go darker. But then the dark brown was too dark, and it comes together. I like it okay. I just want more options, but doesn't everybody? The kitchen is so versatile, and it's a place where you spend a lot of time in general. You're cooking and eating and well, basically that's it. But I think of like doing homework at the table. And so, this is where we end up with it. We go ahead and do the country kitchen pack and this light tan shade with like the salmon colored curtains. And then as you see in the middle, I have an island. I just thought that was really fun to have a little island moment with some stools around it. And that's kind of your table. It's built in. It looks handmade. I have a column going through it to kind of just like add some uniqueness, I guess. My thought was to have a tree in here. So you may see me trying with a tree here and there. I did end up thinking of something I could use, but in the end, I keep a column in there. I did really want a tree in the middle of the house, though. I just thought it would have been so cool, but there's not really great options. So it is what it is, but that was my idea, right? It's a Hobbit house. Like, wouldn't you want a tree like going through the middle of your table? As for wallpaper, I actually use a lot of Realm of Magic, which kind of surprised me. I wasn't expecting to use the wallpapers. I think of Lord of the Rings when I look at that like living room swatch wallpaper, that it reminds me of Lord of the Rings. And even the wallpaper that I put in the kitchen, it felt right, okay? And that doesn't always happen. Sometimes you just like settle, you're like, well, this is good enough. But it really looked good to me and felt Lord of the Rings, so we went with it. Upstairs, I thought about splitting it up and doing 2 bedrooms, but it just felt too small. So I played around with what the staircase would look like elsewhere. What if we did like the living room upstairs and had the bedroom downstairs? But I really liked the layout downstairs. So instead, you almost have like this like lofted bedroom where you come upstairs and you're right into the bedroom. So there's a desk and you've got a little computer. It's the cottage living one. So it looks like a little typewriter. It's real cute. You have all your necessities. I do put the dresser downstairs. It's that cute little luggage suitcase looking thing. I love that one, and it felt on theme, on point. So we use it. At this point, I've decided, you know what? The perfect use for behind the staircase is a bathroom. I've done that before, and I don't mean to do it. It's not actually something that I do all the time. It's been a while since I've done that, where behind the staircase, you just have a bathroom. It's just easy. That space is being wasted otherwise. So I wasn't sure what I was going to put in this little area. I was like, well, maybe I'll put like an actual table. You know what? No, let's make it a bedroom. It's a little weird shape, but it works. So I'll go ahead and make this kind of like a child's bedroom. I put a toy chest. I put a dollhouse in there for the kid who lives there, a small violin. It's just a really nice little simple bedroom. There's not a whole lot of clutter in this place because there's a lot of furniture, and I did make sure that pretty much everything's like play tested. You can go to sleep, you can get on the computer, sit down in the chairs, go cook, go to the bathroom, take a bath, all the stuff. You can do it. It took me a moment to figure out wallpapers in the kids' bedroom because I really wanted a pretty green and I wanted a dark wood swatch to kind of match the bed. I thought about changing the bed up, but I love green. I just wanted to use that green bed. So I did, and I ended up using a cottage living wallpaper. Has that nice like floral, viney look to it, and it just feels kind of on point point for the fact that they're living in a house that's kind of underground. My apologies for the video quality. I've been seeing this where some of these videos that I'm doing are a little blurred, like lagging a little bit. I'm gonna have to change what app I'm using to edit. So if you're watching this, what do you use to edit your videos? What have you heard? It's great because I'm using a couple different things and it's distorting the quality of my videos, and that's no bueno. No good. I'm not here for it. I want to give you better content than this. So if you have an application that you use that you absolutely love, let a girl know because we all deserve better than what's happening on the screen. I mean, seriously, when I start moving around, and maybe it's happening when I speed the video up, but unfortunately I can't give you real-time videos as much as I'd like to. It's just harder. Builds can take some time, and I am a mom of 2 kids. They're in and out and all over the place, and I often have to get up from what I'm doing. That's why you'll see like save screens and stuff. I have to get up and go and handle things and take care of the kids, right? I'm a single mom, so I just gotta go do it. So I can't really do real-time builds, which would probably alleviate a lot of the like blurred and having to like do a speed build one day, but not today, and that's fine. Hopefully you're really enjoying the content. I'm having fun. I mean, that's what we're here for, right? Just to have fun and get in the Sims and build and let our creativity run wild. And I'm here for it. I like it. I hope you do too. This has been on my like build list for a while, honestly. Like I said, I love Lord of the Rings. I'm getting prepared to like get my sister to watch it because she's never watched any of them. And I'm like, I don't know how she'll feel about the orcs, because I remember growing up and watching it and I don't know, being like 10 or something like that. And my brother would like always cover my eyes when the orcs came out because the orcs are not like the nicest looking things in the world. But he would always like cover my eyes and, then we would watch the movie. So I'm working on getting her prepared because I think it's time. I think it's time we dive into it. Although I'm going to convince her to watch this movie, and I am not one to like watch movies that I don't want to watch. So it's a little one-sided. She's like, let's watch the Titanic. And I'm like, nah, I'm okay. Thanks though. Really, we're just getting in. And I wanted to make this place planty, overly planty. I mean, why not? You're living in this underground covered in flowers, just this beautiful lush place. You would have flowers inside too. I guarantee it. So I definitely wanted to put plants everywhere and just make it feel very green inside the house as well as outside the house. We're getting closer to being done on the inside of the house. It's all just very little clutter. It's just clutter for now. Finishing touches. I'm going to go in, play test it a little bit, and then get back outside, and we're going to kind of finish landscaping this place. Of course, I had to add some gnomes. I mean, it just felt right. I probably should have added more gnomes. Gnomes are fun. I didn't want it to feel too much like my fairy house though, which I mean, fairies, Hobbit, they're not the same, so don't hate me. But these houses, they definitely have a vibe to them, okay? I'm going ahead and pushing these flowers outside where they're supposed to be and making sure they kind of stay in position. Everything looks good, so just kind of editing, making sure that everything's still covered. Now we're just gonna go in and landscape this. I wasn't quite sure landscaping and how it would look. I knew that I wanted to cover up the back hill, if you will, with trees, but trees wanted to float because of the terrain, and that is such a pain. And I'm not trying to rhyme, it's just happening on its own. So I learned this from Sid Mac, where you go underneath into your basement area, you take your trees and you raise them up from underground, which she didn't do it with trees, she did it with plants when I saw her do it, but it's so good. It's a little bit of a pain, like having to go back in and go down and go up and figure out if the tree is raised enough, but it was the best way to get these trees not to be floating. I wanted this great brush line in the back. I wanted it to match the surrounding areas, so I used some debug trees. Everything wanted to float though, so there was no putting a fence, there was no stones, I couldn't put more flowers, but in the end, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It is so pretty. I know that everyone's got their own idea of this, but man, it's gorgeous and I'm super happy with it. I hope you like this build. If you do, you can get it off the gallery. My EA ID is katxthrash, just like here on YouTube. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and definitely come back for more. If you're watching this, just know that I appreciate every single one of you. Y'all are so awesome. I really love doing this, and I appreciate the support. I hope you have a great night wherever you are. Bye, y'all.